The Other Side is brought to you by Truman Insurance. Community-driven, always honest, always reliable, always there. This is The Other Side, and we're looking at the Toronto Argos, your next victim.
I like that.
McLeod Bethel Thompson, a guy with, as you said, 3 last names. I remember him being a backup in Minnesota, but he looked a little out of place at the start of the year, but now he's looking like he's getting used to the CFL and looks like he's becoming a solid candidate as a CFL quarterback.
Yeah, he's very tough on himself early in the year. I mean, if you watch some of his interviews, he kept saying what the Argos need is better quarterback play when he's the quarterback. So, I mean, I think his leadership is good that way because I think the guys would say, hey, he's taking ownership of this. He's calling himself out. He's saying he needs to be better, and they were probably agreeing with him early in the year. But he's taking the next step. I mean, he's probably had 3 or 4 games in a row right around 400 yards. That's big, big numbers. He's taking care of the football now. Their offense is rolling. They've got a lot of weapons. It's not super balanced, meaning they don't run and pass equally, but they use their running backs in the screen game and throw them out to the flat. And they've got some playmakers. They really do. Darrell Walker's, I think, right up there with anybody, and he's now taken off. And we're going to have our hands full.
Who makes you worried the most on that team?
Probably Darrell Walker. I mean,
Yeah.
I really believe, he's right there with the best in the league. I mean, he's got super speed. He's physical. He's big. He just wasn't really finding what he was good at there with that system, and they've found it now. I mean, he's had 2 of the biggest games of the year, up around 200 yards. He's a matchup problem for any DB. They move him around now, so we can't just necessarily try to find the matchup we want. That's an issue right there. And then, to be honest with you, I think they're defensively, they're just playing super aggressive and they're tackling really well. They haven't given up any rushing yards in the last maybe 5 games. So when you can't control the line of scrimmage, you get yourself basically tossing it around. That's when you're going to have problems.
So going there, and you guys coming off, your 3rd straight win, they've improved. Maybe not in the points category, but they have improved. They're different, and they've made it interesting for a lot of different teams. So this is going to lie on your hands there, buddy, because you got to coach up here because you can't let these guys take this for granted.
I'm working on it. I am. I hope they understand. I've told them there's going to be nothing easy about this. I mean, this is our second opponent that's coming off a bye. When you play an opponent coming off a bye, if they're doing a good job and they're well coached, they should have some new wrinkles. They should have some new schemes, and they should be well prepared for your team. You're not going to surprise them at all. And we're going into a 6-day week with basically then going and then a bye. I think it's easy for our players to think, let's just go win and get home. And that's just not how professional football works. You've got to show up with attitude and an edge and understand the grit has to be there. And we say it all the time, embrace the grind, meaning that you got to know it's going to be hard work, but enjoy it, because anything in life that's really worth its salt is going to be something that you earned and it's tough. And I think our guys understand this is going to be that type of game.
Since we're talking about the other side, I want to ask you about a couple of franchise and ownerships in BC and Montreal. What's the latest you've heard on these teams?
Well, I was in BC, and David Braley was the owner when I was there. I think David is ready to sell, but he's asking for the moon. I think he wants a big dollar, and he's been ready to sell for a while. But he's a good owner. He takes care of his employees, and he loves the league and loves football. I think local ownership would be awesome there, and I know there's some guys there. I just, what's the asking price? They've made a lot of money through the years in Grey Cups because they have the indoor stadium, great stadium.
Yep.
And they had a lot of Grey Cups, so they did make some money. But I think a little bit of local ownership would maybe help those guys have a little identity and be able to sell that team a little bit more. Montreal, I think we're close to getting guys. They're playing well. I think there's buzz. I think Quebec loves football. I think they want football there, and so I really think the next ownership group has a winner there, and if they get the right fit, reconnect with their fans and get a winning product on the field, you'll see the fans come back.
Kahari Jones, you have to admire what he's done, because the day before camp, you fire your coach, their GM gets fired. Everything looked like a dumpster fire, and yet here they are. They're with Adams playing quarterback and Lewis the receiver. They've got some dynamic players, and it's fun to watch again.
Yeah. I think if anyone in Calgary remembers Kahari, I mean, he's a great man.
Yes.
Very family-oriented, honest, hardworking, smart man. So that's just great for him. And he kind of had a lot of, the deck was stacked against him a bit, a lot of things against him when he got the job. In fact, I think a lot of people are like, ooh, Kahari, what are you getting yourself into here? They've been able to sign good players through the years, you know, and there's some rumors out there, obviously, that they were overpaying the cap and doing some things that weren't legit. But let me tell you, they've got a good roster. They got a lot of former Calgary Stampeders that we wanted to keep. Some reason they went there, maybe a little extra dollars, who knows?
Figured that out.
I did now. It took me a while, but you know, it's a good story. But they're also, you know, let's see what they can do. But they're right there. They're in the mix. They're playing everybody tough. Obviously, their quarterback position has been solved. Vernon's playing excellent, and we'll have to see how it ends up.
Cool.